let's start, Wendee, with you sharing a little bit with the women listening about yourself and all of that good stuff, and we'll start there.
Awesome. Well, Roseanne, first and foremost, I am so excited to be on this podcast with you. I'm so excited that the universe and the powers that be brought us together in a very random way. And the second that I met you, there was this energy and connection of, I just felt like, okay, I want to be her friend. I want to be in her world. I want more of that, And now that I know who you are and what you're doing, it's crazy. So first and foremost, kudos to you for what you're doing for women and everything, because I'll tell you, first and foremost, my greatest job and joy of my life are my children. And having my children and experiencing all that comes with that. And now my kids are grown now. So, I'm someone that knows the whole gamut. And they're now my very best friends, and they're on their path, and life is great. But, I'm still a mom. My grown kids are always like, oh my God, Mom, we're grown. I'm like, well, I still think of you every 5 seconds and want to know what you're doing and what's happening and all of that stuff. So kudos to you and what you've done for women. And I think the thing that I love most about you is, and probably the synergies that we have, is just the most underused tool in our tool belt, and that's our mind.
Yes.
And our higher faculties. And I just love that you're sharing that with the world, because we're just not taught it in school. And if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah. And and you're extremely kind, Wendee. I really appreciate what you said, because it was extremely mutual, and you're living proof in my own life of how sometimes our personal tragedies put us on a path that we hadn't anticipated. Because if I never struggled with my fertility, I would have never met you. I know that sounds like really strange, but yeah, sometimes, these things that occur in our lives, it sounds awful, but the people, the circumstances, the experiences that will come as a result of that, we just have no clue. I never would have predicted all those years ago that, in the midst of my struggle, that one day I would meet Wendee Saunders, I would be in her home, I would do all these crazy things. And it's just a gift. So I have to say that thank you for my fertility journey, because I got to meet you.
Yeah. Thank you for your fertility journey too.
Yeah. Well, so why don't you tell, because you have, another thing that we bonded over when we met was your own personal story, which I just found you're doing so many cool things and have an incredible eye for design, on top of so many other things, but which we can also get into. But I'd love it if you shared a little bit of your story with the women listening, because you have quite a comeback story too.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that something that has served me well from my childhood, and it could also not serve me, but now that I'm aware of it, I know how to use it, is me realizing that thing of, you're not the boss of me. Because of the house that I grew up in, I just watched things that went on in my house, and I thought, no one's going to be the boss of Wendee, right? And so independence can be a great thing, and it can also be not a good thing. And so, but the way it has served me is it's created an incredible amount of tenacity of, yes, I can, and I can do things, and I can overcome things. And so I think innately in me, because that's something that I've always wanted to prove, I don't need you and you're not the boss of me, I've always found a way. I've always found a way. And now that I've come through my journey, I realize, wait, I can be really intentional about this mindset, where I don't think it was always, I didn't use it intentionally, if that makes sense. And so, I've been around the block for a long time. I'm now in the second half, if you will, which I say games are won in the second half. And through my journey, through careers, through making changes, when people said, "Why are you doing that? No one can do that. You can't do that." I just kept doing it and kept persevering. And now I'm able to acknowledge myself that I did that. I did that because of the way that I thought and how I and what it was attracted to me, because I only saw I can do it and I will do it kind of a path.
Mm-hmm.
And when you and I met, I was still in recovery from open heart surgery. So I, knock on wood or whatever, always been blessed with being very healthy, but I had a heart defect, I guess, if you will, mitral valve prolapse, heart murmur. Lots of people have them. In women, they don't really show symptoms. So I'm very grateful that I actually knew I had this and needed to check on it. And in 2020, doctor said, "Okay, it's time. We need to, make this happen." I'm like, "Oh my God." And so I had open heart surgery. And it's great. I'm great now. I'm totally great. Life is great. But I think what going through what that did for me was it unleashed a part of me that was like, you know what? It's a good reminder that we get, we think one shot to do things.
Yeah.
The human body is an incredible machine, like incredible what I went through, and the fact that I'm completely on the other side. We live in a world where there are people that decided for a living they were going to cut people open and fix their heart. God bless them, be grateful. And I just thought, you know what? I've been given a second chance. Like, I don't have to live into the future of, well, I'm older now and la, la, la. You know what? F that. So I am in such a crazy beast mode, which is a weird word to say, but it's what coming to mind right now, of just what's next for me and what am I creating. And I know so much of it stemmed from just that reality of, you know what am I doing? What am I like, there's no stopping.
Yeah. Oh man, Wendee. I mean, like, you're dropping bombs left and right, because think about that. Open heart surgery, that is no joke. People don't just go in for the, I'm an outpatient open heart. I mean, like, that is an existential crisis, even if it's the kind, like, fairly routine. If open
Totally.
heart
Yep.
surgery can
Not
be
routine for me, but routine for them.
yeah. I mean, if even if it was, in the experts' opinions, routine, it's certainly not routine for us non-cardiologists, and
Mm-hmm.
The kind of circumstances that you're talking about, that awakening, in a sense, maybe is a word that we can use here, is this awakening that, hey, we got one life. We have one life and we get to decide how we live it. That must have been, like, both profound and shocking for you at the same time.
It was. And what it really did for me, looking back, was two things. One, when you're getting ready to go into a surgery like that, they're basically shutting you down for 3 to 4 hours. Your heart can't be beating when they're working on it. So they have to stop that. And it's a whole thing. And going into that, I just realized anything that I had been tentative about suddenly went by the wayside, because I thought, what the heck, man? I could die. Like, why am I tiptoeing around sharing what I believe in, being bold, asking for what I want? Like, why am I tiptoeing around that? Like, for freak's sakes, So I kind of stepped into that new version of myself where I thought, but in a way, I've always believed in, if fortune favors the bold, but there's a way to be bold and elegant and graceful and loving all at the same time. Right. But be bold and stand in your truth and stand in what you believe in. So that was one thing that happened. The other thing that happened was, okay, what am I going to create now with this newfound energy? I thought I had energy before, but apparently I didn't, because my energy is off the charts now. So I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I know a lot of your audience are young moms. They're young moms in a totally different phase. But eventually your children grow up and you've worked so hard to raise them and get them on their path. And there is something that is such a thing called empty nester syndrome, especially when that is your whole world, is your children, right? Every thought, every plan, everything you do is around them. And I kind of went through some of that as my kids, moved and went out of the house and they're doing their own thing. And, all like, not like realizing, wow, maybe I'm a little lost or something's going on with me. And so what this heart surgery did was help me reevaluate, okay, what am I going to create now? And what am I going to do? And so what's kind of been born from all of this is me redesigning what that second half looks like and redesigning what I want to do for my children. Had an interesting conversation today, actually, with my daughter. And she was sharing a book with me that's about leaving, about making your plan with your money and spending, like, be careful how much money you take to the grave, because, you want to enjoy your life. And I thought to myself, and I shared with her, I thought, that's interesting. You want to provide for your kids, even as they're older, you want to provide when you're gone, right? And before my heart surgery, it was the first time I thought, okay, I got to get my shit together. I have my will together, all the stuff that kind of sounds morbid, but you're like, I got to get my shit together if something happens. And so I really made the decision now in the second half of life that the legacy that I get to leave to my kids and to my peers and all of those things are what I'm doing right now.
Oh,
right. And I kind of believe there's heaven on earth and hell on earth. I have some good books that I've read, and I'm like, I get to create what's happening right now. And I was created in his image, and there's nothing I can't do as long as I'm willing to tap into that. And so that's what drives me, is now what am I going to do? And so I want to, the two words in my mind for my life are freedom and contribution. So I want freedom of peace of mind, finances, the nagging thoughts. I want freedom of all that. And then I want to contribute because, like you, my journey has the ability to help other people, and the things that I see or things that I see missing. And so along with some things that I'm doing for women with creating a coaching course, I'm very, very frustrated in the world of everybody wants to teach you how to do things, but no one ever wants to teach you how to keep it.
Oh, that's so good.
Which is a whole different deal. You know that, right? There's a certain way you need to do to keep it. And so I'm working on, some programs to share all of that, because I just believe it's a missing piece. And then the other thing that I'm working on is I am Vain Jane. I am a self-proclaimed Vain Jane. I absolutely care what I look like all the time. That's just the way it is. And I, have this surgery and they're like, we have to cut you open. And my first thought should have been, oh, I'm so grateful you can help me. No, my first thought was, are you kidding me right now? Like, as hard as I have worked on having this beautiful skin, and you're going to slice me open, like, oh my God. I mean, what I said to my surgeon as I'm getting ready to go back to the OR, I'm like, don't forget, fashion's my sport, make it look good. And he's like, I got you. I mean, that's what I'm worried about, you guys. And I know that's crazy, but whatever. And so
our body is a temple, right? Like you're trying to preserve it as part of good stewardship, woman. That's not, I mean, I get you. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
on
I
the
mean, listen, I
vein.
have my warrior mark now, but I just assume not have anything there. So from that though, I have all these skin coaches. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? What's my plan? Right. I made a plan for the scar and I have a whole scar protocol. If anyone has scars out there and you want help, I got you because mine is,
There
I
are
wish I had a top on that I could show you, but it's pretty crazy.
There are
So
coaches for scars,
no, for
skin
skin.
coaches.
I have people in my life that I'm like, hey, because I'm all about all of that, right? Like anti-aging and beauty and your skin and feeling and looking your best. And so out of my heart surgery, two things have been born is, well, three things, but really, what I want to share with women. I'm going to be coming out with a book next year that has to do with beauty and mindset, because I believe when you combine the two, it's a pretty deadly force. But we work so much on the outside, but if you're not equally working on the inside, you're just missing a huge link. And then the third thing is I am launching a fashion brand because I spent all this time covering up from the sun because that was the number one thing. Wendee, no sunlight on your scar, no sunlight. And I understand, I'm big into the whole sunscreen thing. I was like, okay, no sunlight, right? I'm like, my girlfriends are like, what are you wearing? I'm like, I have to cover up. I was a freak. And I'm glad I did. But out of that, I decided that there was some things missing, in the fashion world to protect us as we go about our day. And so, if for those people that want to follow along, you'll see it come to fruition. And that was all born out of this. And yeah, so I as you're grateful for your fertility journey, I'm grateful that this was my journey because it has created so many things, like so many things.
Well, first of all, I'm with you on the Vain Jane train. Like, I mean, who says, who says that as you get into the second half of your life, that it's suddenly like you hang it up, you let it all go? I mean, it's funny because I had my son when I was almost 44, which
Mm-hmm.
but that was, back in those days, like that's when I thought skinny fat, I'm like, that's when it's just being skinny fat. And then now it's like, the appreciation for the female form and being strong, being healthy, staying, in a place where, we preserve our beauty. There's nothing wrong with having that external, beauty as well as the inner beauty. Like, I love that you're hitting on that because there are women out there who feel disempowered about that. Like it's somehow a bad thing, right?
Yep.
Like,
yep.
And so talk
The
to us
feminine
about this.
power. Yeah, feminine energy and being feminine, it's a strategy. It's a power that you have. And I agree. Like we live in this whole thing with, I don't know what's going on with the whole feminine world. And listen, whatever floats your boat. But I'm like, be a woman. Like be a woman, be feminine and learn how to use we all have our own feminine, masculine energy. But I think there's been this shift that women with independence or whatever it is, and there's nothing wrong with that, but they've forgotten how to tap into the feminine energy. And so they're attracting things with their masculine energy that maybe they want, maybe they don't want, but again, missing a critical component.
Yeah. Well, and first of all, if anyone can be in the second half of their life and look like you, Wendee, that's like a massive win in and of itself. But but it's true. Like, and I think that the glow that you have is not only through discipline and clearly a skin coach and like all the good stuff, but it's also from that inner knowing, right? I think that there's an inner knowing when you have lived a journey. And when you stop hiding that light, I think it naturally starts to come out in you and it becomes visible to other people on a similar journey. Just like when you and I met, it was like, like immediately I know my people when I meet them. Right.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? What do you think about this? Because we'll get into this mindset thing, because you and I can have a conversation about mindset probably in
For
ways that
days,
most people
for days.
right. Yeah. But you said something earlier about the things that you attract into your life when you really start to wake up and to see like what really matters. You stop, messing around with asking for what you want. Share a little bit about how your life has changed since you have stopped playing footsie with your truth.
Mhm. I do believe that there's a peace of mind and clarity that comes along with giving all that up. And by peace of mind, it means just letting go of all the BS, limitations, stories, attachment of other people's opinions, care, all that stuff just gets to go away. And there's an incredible peace when you have that. And then the clarity comes from when you really, really love yourself and love what you've done, and knowing what you're capable of doing. Clarity creates action, and action creates confidence. And I don't know if it stands for men, but I think for women want to feel confident, but they don't realize that the confidence comes from the clarity, and the clarity is what creates action. And then you have the confidence. So it's all kind of backwards, And so I think it's the clarity I have of what it is that I want, what it is that I want to create, clarity on what I don't want and what I no longer give a crap about, like that. So it's that clarity that then the clarity allows you to figure out who you need to become. And when we set goals, the goal is what you want, but the real, what it really is who you need to become, and getting excited about all of that. And so I think like law of attraction, I like to start it off with the law of like magnetism, because the law of attraction comes from who you're being, or frequency. Everyone hears this in a different way. Will you become a magnet to attract what it is that you want? And so, all of this has just kind of freed me up to take myself to the next level. If you're not growing, you're dying. Progress makes you happy. Growth makes you happy. And so many people, especially at my, time of life, I mean, I'm 53 years old. And I'll tell you, in my friendship group, you've got the woman like me who's like, let's go, like, let's get after it, right? Like we got more time than we've ever had. We got money now, we're mature, we got our bitch switch where we're like, I'm 53 years old. I don't care what you think, But then you've got the other group of people who have given up.
Oh my gosh.
And I think if they've given up, they've stopped growing. It's over for me. I'm tired, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But
I hope that every woman listening sees that one of the great gifts of you really standing in your truth, whether it's on your fertility journey or whatever health journey that you're on, when you finally step into owning who you are, you get to surround yourself with people like this, right? I mean, like this.
Yeah.
And I love what you're sharing, because I think this serves women anytime there's a health challenge, whether it's fertility, your heart, any other kind of experience that causes you to really stop and evaluate what you care about in your life. It's a gift. Now, it might be a bitch in the middle of it, but exactly as you say, it is the woman that you become in the process. And I try to tell women this all the time. Nobody wants to believe me, or they think that, oh, well, Roseanne, you're on the other side of your journey, so it's easy for you to say that. No, it's not easy for me to say that, because I fucking worked for it, right? Like like you, clawed your way back from open heart surgery and not falling into victimhood, not falling into all of the patterns of, oh my gosh, I'm not attractive anymore, all that stuff. When you have an existential crisis, the way that, I think any of these health concerns presents, having the clarity that you're talking about, having the peace of mind that you're talking about, the peace of mind that comes from, hey, I'm not going to BS myself or anyone else anymore. This is what I stand for. This is what I'm doing. As soon as I come to out of this surgery, it's go time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think also something else that you said that I really want to highlight is that the action creates the confidence. The clarity drives that action. When you have all of those things together, there's no reason not to be confident because you can trust you to follow through.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And the one thing that all of this is enacting your ability to have faith. So there's two things: enacting your ability to utilize faith as a tool. And then the other thing, and you said it, and I'm losing my train of thought for half a second here, but is the hardest part of doing anything is the thinking part.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why we live in a world where, oh, take a pill, you'll be better, do this, you'll be better, right? And so that's why it's the most underutilized tool. But like with what you're doing with women, and I watch you and I've watched all this, and it just like, I literally get like, yes, because when you use your mind, you really can make things happen. Like, and people think, oh, that's woo woo, that's it. It's like, okay, we'll try it because you are in control of it and it's free. So
yeah.
But it's crazy.
And it's quantum physics. It's quantum physics. And the other thing too is if you look at any sacred text, they're all getting at this idea in one way or another that we are, as you said at the very beginning of this, you're either creating a heaven on earth or a hell on earth, and it's your choice. We have free will for a reason. Yep. And I think that sometimes, I don't know where this came. I mean, I have my suspicions about where this came from, but a lot of us have been lulled into a sleep in a sense where, exactly as you said, we expect a pill to fix us. We expect the doctors to fix us. We expect somebody else to do the work.
We believe what everyone tells us. We believe it, right?
Yeah.
If my doctor would have told me, I can't fix your heart, right, and you're going to have this, well, I could have been that person to say, okay, right? But it's like, do we believe everything that people tell us?
Yeah.
Without even, without maybe contradicting it, without researching it, without getting other opinions. And it's like, what the heck?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like critical thinking has gone out the window. But to your point, your surgeon is a master at what your surgeon does, but your surgeon can't do it for you. Your surgeon's going to expertly cut you open, is going to fix your heart. But at the end of the day, your surgeon gets to go home. You, Wendee, have to continue being Wendee and have to make the choices that Wendee needs to make in order to see this through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And keep my mind right during all of it, during like just continue. And it was that faith. Like I just knew, I mean, going through the surgery, it is no joke, the recovery, right? And anytime you're in recovery and, on medication and laying around in bed, you're not working on your goals, so your mind can really mess with you. And so that was where I had to enact faith of, I have faith in my body that I'm healing. It's like, you have to get this thing in control. And when you can control it, it doesn't mean that it becomes this perfect thing. It just means like, I feel like, oh, I got your number.
Right.
Meaning, when I have these little thoughts that go through my head, I can go, no, no, and stay in my, telling my mind. And, I'm sure, I imagine we've read the exact same books, but I'm rereading Psycho-Cybernetics right now.
Oh, Dr. Maxwell
And
Maltz, are you kidding me? I love that book.
yeah. And it's just such a good reminder
Yeah.
of the power that we have, that, I mean, tap into it and you'll see
Yeah.
the heavens open.
Yeah. Well, and another bomb that you dropped earlier that I thought was so incredible that I wanted to go back to is, people think law, I think, as much as I love The Secret and all these other things for opening people's minds, that's a very superficial way of looking at this, because in the end, who you're being, that's the magnet. Like you were saying, you can't, and I think Dr. Joe Dispenza said this, you cannot think past how you feel. So if you're not doing things that make you feel great, if you're not entertaining thoughts that feel really good to you, how will you ever magnetize to attract the things that you want in your life? Because if you're super low vibe, if your frequency is constantly in fear, loathing, negativity, how are you ever going to attract the magic in your life?
Totally. And I think that the thinking also has to be what actually comes out of your mouth and the actions.
Oh,
so when you're being right, you can, people say, well, I'm positive. It's like, okay, let's record you for 48 hours and see how you speak about yourself, and about others. I was working, I'll give you a little insight, but I was working on my book the other day, and I was thinking about recognition. And, there's a saying that says, people will work for money, but they will die for recognition. And I thought to myself, but nowhere in there does it say that recognition has to come from other people. Why can't that recognition come from yourself?
Yes.
And that's how we speak, right? We don't, I mean, I'm sure you do what I do, but I walk around the house every day. I am a badass. I am amazing. I am this. I am that. I am this. I am that. Because I'm like, I don't need anyone else to tell me that. It's nice. It's great. But when I tell myself, it's a whole nother ballgame.
It totally is. And so often the thing that we're looking for from other people, they'll never give it to us in the same way that we can give to ourselves. Like, even in marriages or partnerships, it's the quality of that relationship. And this is true in friendships, I believe, is that the more that you bring to it, the more wholeness, the more love of self that you bring to it, the more amazing that relationship is going to be. Like even when you and I met, there was a simpatico and I think an understanding of who we were, that like Wendee and I are not going to have some bullshit conversation about the weather. I knew that like immediately, this is my people. This is a woman I can have a conversation with. Like,
juicy. I guess it's going to be juicy.
Yeah, this is going to be good, right? And I think that, what we're sharing here is such a, I think, a perspective that I'm so happy that we're going to be, giving to other women, to say that, hey, you're not tied to this diagnosis. That diagnosis is like 1/1 zillionth of who you are. And that there's so much more, and you have more power over the outcome of that than you even know.
Yeah, totally. Well, when my heart stuff, they told me that my valves were probably not repairable. And when you have to have a replacement of heart valves, it's number one, they don't last your whole life. Number two, you have to be on a blood thinner that's called Coumadin, that is awful. Like you have to check in weekly, poke your finger. I couldn't get Botox anymore. That'd be awful. So, right. And so So when I made the decision of I'm going to find somebody who who will give me the answer that I'm looking for, because I believe that it exists. And I'm not willing to settle into that, scarcity answer.
Oh,
And, went round and round, and I found a surgeon who was like, and interestingly enough, I had been going the direction of, please do the surgery through my rib cage so that I don't have a scar. And that was the answer I was getting. Well, we probably can't repair because they're messed up. And I finally found a surgeon who was like, if you let me in there, I'm really good at what I do. And I repair valves that most people can never repair. And so I was like, okay, okay, there it is. And he did it. And when he opened me up, he came out and told my husband, man, she's a mess in there. Not sure. Both her valves are a mess. And then 3 or 4 hours later, he comes skipping out of the OR. I did it. I absolutely did it. We didn't have to have replacement, which means I don't have to do any of this again. I'm done for the rest of my life. But it was me really making decision of what it is that I wanted, and searching through avenues until it all came together. That, okay, I found it. And I think with your women, if they settle into what someone's told them is possible, they're doomed. You can't do that. You have to know, no, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to have. And just open that up and burn the boats, right? The old saying of burn the boats, and you will find your path.
Wendee,
But if you tell yourself you can't, you can't.
yeah. Dude, if I haven't told you lately, I fucking love you. Like
Right back at you.
it it's this kind of clarity. And this goes back to another thing, a beautiful gift that you gave us in teaching, about the clarity and the action that comes from that, and then the confidence that comes as a result of the action. Making the decision that you're not going to do this on anyone else's terms, and that you're not going to negotiate, and that you know what you want. You, by being that woman. So listen up, ladies. Wendee is literally showing us how that looks, because being the woman that you had to be to stand in your power and know how you wanted to do the surgery. You're not giving up your Botox. Botox is blessed, and like that you necessarily, because you were at that frequency, could meet a surgeon at that frequency that was willing to do it on your terms. This doesn't surprise me. I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, it delights me because it's yet another example, but you're living proof through so many of your own personal choices and that level of clarity that you will pull the resources, the people, the experiences, the abundance that you're going to need in order to do whatever it is that you decide to do once you make a decision to be that.
And the sacrifice, because in anything you do, there's something to sacrifice, right? That sacrificing can be giving up your complaints that, everyone in the world you got to face, like, okay, I've been that girl, I got to give it up. Like, there's always a sacrificing your time, sacrificing, something. And for me, the sacrifice was, okay, I have to now do this surgery in a way that I didn't want to do it. But that sacrifice has given me this new trajectory in my life and, allowed me, fashion and beauty has always been my sport. And now I'm turning it into a business. But had I not made a sacrifice, which sounds kind of vain, it sounds kind of like, hello, girl, you had heart surgery. It's like, but no, it was a sacrifice to do it in a way that I had really said, I'm not going to do open heart surgery.
Yeah.
but I made that sacrifice for my health and my well-being and my longevity, which I'm so happy. But that sacrifice also gave me a gift.
Yeah.
So we have to also recognize there's always something to give up, to go up. Something. It could be small, big, but you have to look at what you can't just get there without sacrificing something.
I love that. Something to give up to go up. And you know what really is what you're also talking about in so many words is being willing to pay the price. That nothing in this life is free. Like it requires discipline. It requires, so many people I run into, oh my gosh, that's so expensive. I don't want to do fertility treatments. It's going to cost me 20 grand. And it's like, what?
Scarcity much?
Scarcity much? Yeah. And it's like, and it's like, what are you talking about? And even, people get all upset. Oh, we're going into a recession, all this stuff. Not in my world. There's only a recession if you make it a recession.
I make my own economy. Last I checked.
Yeah.
You guys can keep screwing up, doing what you got to do. Wendee makes her own economy.
Your own economy. That's it.
I don't do recessions. I don't do it.
Neither do I. Recessions are opportunities. It is an absolute opportunity. While everyone else is constricting, you go full force.
Yeah.
And, and I think that scarcity mindset, like if you want to guarantee broke, stay in scarcity because you'll never take the risk that it takes to get really wealthy. If you want to make sure that in your 50s, you're old and dry up, stay in scarcity. Okay. It's the idea that anything is going to come for free or that somebody else is going to do it is a guarantee for mediocrity. And neither one of us wear that t-shirt.
No. And I also think, Roseanne, I think that there's what you want and there's what you think you can have. Oh. And you got to get real clear because you can have and create anything. And if you don't believe me, there's somebody with your situation, your circumstances, your background, doing and having all the things that you want. So we're not going to argue about the fact that you can't have it. So it's really stepping into that, like, is that what you want? Or is that what you think you can have? Oh, and where I'm clear in my life and what I love about just my journey and listen, ladies listening, you got to grow, you got to read, you have to, all the things that you're probably not being taught from your peers in school, and which is most everybody, you got to step on that other side to really understand who you are at your core of what you can do. And then when you go after life, knowing that there's nothing you can't do, boy, that's fun. It's scary, it's fun, it's exhilarating, but it's like, holy smokes.
Yeah, I mean, fear and excitement, they have very similar qualities. And so I always tell women, lean into the excitement, that things are about to get real exciting, because if you're not growing, like you were saying before, it's a backslide. Like people think that there's this, you can just stay in this sort of, middle ground. No. That's not how it works. And, one of the wisest things is, if you're wanting to get somewhere, don't talk to your neighbors who never lived the journey that you're living for advice. Just like, would you go to someone who's broke for advice on how to make money? No, you're going to go find the people that are doing it and get the information from them, because all the low vibrational people around you are going to tell you 50 reasons why you can't. Right. So it's like, if you're relying on low vibe people to tell you whether or not you're ever going to get pregnant, or you're relying on low vibe people who say, oh, this heart surgery, your life is over, you're never going to be the same. I mean, why would you listen to those people?
Yeah, that's right. It's amazing. And through my whole life, any career I've ever had, when people said you can't do it, I innately started to look around and go, but she's doing it, so I could do it, and I innately started to look at, well, how is she different than me? That was my question. How is she different than me?
Mm,
And this is back in I we could have a whole segment about careers and different things, right? But in my real estate career, right? In my direct sales career, I just thought, well, if I go look at successful people and I look at how are they different from me from the outside, right? I look at women and I'm thinking, well, she's dressed professionally. I'm dressed like a schlep, right?
mhm.
She, her hair, nails, and outfits totally put together, and I'm kind of half-assing it over here. Or she's always speaking positive, this, that, and the other, and I'm complaining or gossiping. So you just start to look at people around you, and then it provides proof. Like, you got to get rid of the excuse that you can't do it. And the way that you do that is you have to manufacture that by finding the evidence around you, so that you can be like, okay, well, that's a bullshit story, because I just proved to myself that it is possible. And then
Yeah.
then that story's gone. It's like putting, water on a fire. It's just poof, it's out. It's
Yeah.
out.
I mean, and I think to your point earlier about taking action, like, you have to act. The only confidence, you don't just wake up one morning confident. You wake up
Mm-hmm.
one morning confident because the night before you're working your ass off. You were doing the things
Yeah.
that it took, because, it just makes sense. But I think sometimes, I don't know if it's the system or whatever that just loves to keep women disempowered and separated from our power, and tells us you're either accomplished or you're feminine. Like, we have to choose one or the other. You
Yeah.
can be all of it, and
Mm-hmm.
you can be strong, and you don't have to be in victimhood. And
You
scarcity is
can't have kids and have a business and a
yeah.
career and this. Yeah.
Yeah. And scarcity is a big fat lie. I mean, I hear women sometimes, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that. And it's like, what are you talking about? I've had women in, sub-Saharan Africa do my programs, willing to do whatever it took, and never complained, and are holding babies now, like, because of it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. And then there are people that come to our country with nothing, right? And go on to create
Yeah.
incredible wealth. I mean, so all of these excuses and all of these ideas that I can't, or it's too hard, it's like, if you're stuck in a place of I can't or it's too hard, you don't want it bad enough.
That's right. And you'll find exactly everything that you need to prove your point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
Yeah.
Wendee. I mean, we could go
I
on for
know.
hours like this.
I
I,
know. I know.
I just, and this is why I wanted to have you on, because it's these teachings and these things that we are talking about have such incredible universality. Whether it's a heart surgery, whether it's trying to have a baby, whatever the challenge may be, you and I are giving women the cheat code. We are telling you from our own unique individual experiences what it takes to overcome, and who you can be in this process, as well as the gifts that are lying on the other side. I mean, look at you, vibrant, full of life, just glowing on the other side of an open heart surgery. And you've got a book coming out. Oh my God. Do you know the title yet? Do you know what that's
I
going to
do,
be?
but I can't tell it because it's so
Okay.
freaking
Okay.
amazing,
Oh,
and it just has to come out. It just has to come
you,
out.
you know what? You're absolutely right, because I just remembered the name of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
So
did.
we're going to
Yeah.
wait till that comes out.
Yeah.
But like, you've
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
fashion line coming out. Like, there is a heartbreaking number of women in the second half of their lives that wouldn't write a book, that wouldn't start a fashion line. I mean, like, wouldn't be doing the things that you're doing, but you are demonstrating to us that it's not only is it possible, it's so insanely available. that it is simply a decision. And I'll be 49 this month. So I'm like, I'm not that far behind you, girl. So I'm
almost
like,
in the club.
yeah, I'm like, I'm planning my cinquentenera. Like, I'm going to make 50 just, amazing. Yeah. And like I was saying before, like, when we decide what we value, we let go of skinny fat and we get strong. We let go of competition and we go for collaboration. We lift people up instead of gossiping. We get out of lack and scarcity and into abundance, and we attract people, in our frequency. So it's just, I don't know, this is nothing but love, Wendee. So I am just so grateful that you came on. So how can women find out more about you and what you're up to? Share a little bit about the channels that you use and how women can follow you and your work.
Yeah, probably the best place right now is just my personal Instagram, which is at Wendee Saunders, and you'll be able to see how I spell my name, Wendee Saunders, Saunders. That's probably the best place to find me and connect with me. And, again, what you're doing is so great. I love watching it. I love the name of your program because I think the fearless thing is really the just letting it go, right? And just really stepping into feel the fear, do it anyway. The fear's not real, all that stuff. And so I just, to leave you ladies with something is that, what, you can do it. And don't forget who you are. Don't forget how you were created. And, just take control. Take control of that little voice in the head. Take control of whatever your little word habits, things that you need to stop saying, and just get it done, because you're working with someone who is taking her time to coach you through this. And the journey of being a mom is so worth it. It's so worth it. I mean, it's every time someone has a baby, I say to them, now you know what love really feels like, right? Now you know that there is a God, right? When you create another human life. And so I'm just fortunate to know you, Roseanne, and be a part of and watch what you are doing. The impact that you have on this world is pretty astounding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's extremely mutual, Wendee. And I think that you said something, really powerful, that, this, children are the proof there is a God. But I also believe that other proof is women like you. And the fact that when you are in that frequency, you will bring in like-minded people and come into your life in the craziest ways. And it's for that I'm always so grateful for this journey, for meeting you, meeting so many people, and being able to connect with like-minded people and do, fantastic things in the world. So yes, Wendee, thank you for spending the time with us. I'm going to make sure we drop a link to your Instagram in the show notes. It's going to be fantastic. So thank you for being so generous and sharing with us.
Yes. Thank you, Roseanne.
Love this episode of the Fearlessly Fertile podcast? Subscribe now and leave an awesome review. Remember, the desire in your heart to be a mom is there because it was meant for you. When it comes to your dreams, keep saying hell yes.